Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Switch. We're in the second week of August 10th until the 14th. Retail, low print, and imports, plus our community spotlight where you show off your pickups and potentially win a physical Switch game. Speaking of which, before we jump into this week's episode, I have an extra special announcement to make. In celebration of the current World Snooker Championships going off in my hometown of Sheffield, we've teamed up with Ripstone Games to give away a nice copy of Snooker 19 for the Switch, physically. But that's not all. Oh no, this copy is signed by none other than the snooker legends Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson. Yes, you can win this. Just don't tell my dad I'm giving away something signed by Ronnie O'Sullivan instead of giving it to him. He probably won't speak to me again. But that's not all. 2 runners-up can also win a nice download code for the game. All you have to do is check the Twitter link in the description and the pinned comment. What you have to do is you follow me, if you haven't already, follow Ripstone Games, the developers, and give that tweet a nice little retweet, and next week I will announce the winner. You have until Sunday to get this done. Don't miss out on this fine piece of Switch and snooker memorabilia. Just please don't tell my dad. Alright, let's jump into this week's releases. Ancestor's Legacy is releasing physically in North America this week on the 11th. Hot on the tails of its Asian release, which released a couple of weeks ago, this is a tactical strategy game that it looks pretty good as you lead your squad to victory as one of a handful of nations. I haven't seen many opinions on the Switch version so far, but I'm interested and I may pick up the Asian release if I see it for a decent price. European people, I'm not 100% sure on this, but it looks like you may have to import this one from the US, Asia, or Japan if you want a copy. Links are below with a discount code. Caller X Malice or Cross Malice Unlimited is releasing this week on August 13th, at least for North America. Europe tends to lag behind with Axis releases. Anyways, this is another Otame visual novel where you date some dudes. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure how this relates to the original Caller Cross Malice, which released not too long ago. I think it's basically the same game, but with extra modes and story branches, maybe? I don't know. Switch watchers who know all about this, please enlighten me and your fellow viewers about how this is different from the original. I would appreciate it if you taught me. In the US, Monster Jam Steel Titans is getting a very special collector's edition where you get a postcard book plus a die-cast toy truck. I don't know if it's a model or an actual usable thing, but it's 1:24 in scale and it's definitely a unique piece for the collection, even if the game itself isn't much to write home about. August 11th for this one. Beholder is supposedly releasing this week from Badland Games. It looks like their endless collector's editions are finally coming to fruition. Although this may be next week, so it's still a bit of an uncertainty. This is a story-driven adventure game with management elements where your decisions will help affect the story. This collector's edition comes with a squishy character, a badge, art book, and soundtrack CD. We've got a lot of uncertainties this week, mostly because I don't trust the publishers as far as I can throw them in terms of their physical release dates. They've let me down so many times before, so take all of these coming up with a pinch of salt. Mountain Rescue Simulator is perhaps releasing this week physically in Europe. It's from UIG, so it's probably a bit of arse gravy, even if the concept may be cool. I mean, the trailer, they just couldn't even be bothered. Prepare to experience dramatic rescue operations, control specialized vehicles, and enjoy winter snow right in the middle of the summer heat. Top grade bobbins. Football Tactics and Glory, well, I've talked about this one about 5 times already and vowed to never talk about it again. But like a turd that just won't flush, here it is popping back up again. This is the European release of this turn-based strategy take on the sport that sounds more interesting than it probably is. Mad Games Tycoon is a game development management sim, kind of like Game Dev Story. I've actually played this and it's just not very good. Not terrible, but could be a lot better. It lacks all the personality or charm of the other examples of the genre. It also may have the least appealing cover art of all time, worth a purchase for that atrocity alone. Alright, let's jump into the low print releases. Super Rare Games announced their latest physical release for this week. Well, I say announced, it kind of got leaked early. This time it's a Super Sentai inspired tactical RPG called Chroma Squad. As with all Super Rare games, this is a pretty solid game that reviewed well upon release. You cast actors in like a Power Rangers style TV show and do tactical battles. It looks pretty decent with lots of personality. This is available August 13th with 4,000 copies available. Jonathan Rumor has chosen this as his pick of the week. Samurai Jack Battle Through Time is being put up for pre-order this week by Limited Run Games. This is a brand new game, not even out yet. It is a licensed game of the popular cartoon show and is being turned into a 3D hack and slash adventure type game. I mean, the trailer makes it look pretty good, and hopefully it's a notch above the usual Cartoon Network tie-in guff. Looks to be in good, solid hands though, and I'm sure fans of the cartoon will be pleased with this one. And Gannicus, Brent McLean, and God of Resin, our executive producers, have chosen this as their pick of the week. Now, this is where I would tell you about all the delicious Japanese or Asian physical releases this week. Unfortunately, there isn't much going on in the East, so what I would suggest is that after this video, you jump over to another video that I produced last week telling you all the best upcoming Switch physical imports releasing that have English. Definitely worth a look to get your pre-orders in. Also, I know we're all about physical stuff here, but I know that Super Robot Wars T is one of the most sought after imports. It ain't cheap, and the digital version ain't so easy to get with English, so it's not the easiest game to play right now. However, I do want to point out that the digital English version is currently on sale for 41% off on the Hong Kong eShop, which makes it a very reasonable £36 or €40 there or thereabouts. This is the best way to get it if you don't fancy import prices. I'll pop some Hong Kong eShop credit down below if you want to pick it up for yourself, and a quick guide at how to set up the Hong Kong eShop on the Switch. Alright, let's jump into the Let's Get Physical Community Spotlight, where you show off your pickups, and if you're featured at the end of the month, you'll be in the draw to win a physical Switch game. Still not sure what it's going to be, but it's going to be something. Just bear with me. Firstly, I want to show off Super Trench Attack. Juan got his hands on this one from Pixel Heart, the same publisher as Shmup Collection, Finding Teddy 2, and Gigantic Army. They've got an interesting lineup of games coming in 2020, and the latest one is this. It's a comedic top-down shooter. I personally don't know a whole lot about this one, but from some of the comments a few weeks ago when it actually released, you guys seem to say it was quite the positive experience. Perhaps it's not easy to show what the game really has to offer in the trailer, as is the case with most games with silly comedy elements, but I'm definitely on the lookout for this one too. He also got in the Shmup Collection. This is the European version, which has a different cover to the one that I showed last week. Check out that episode in case you missed it. I got the Japanese one, which looks awesome too. The US will get a slightly different one as well, I believe. That's releasing very soon, hopefully. Alright, on to you lot. Cass sent in some great games, including the lovely 3D platformer Super Lucky's Tale. I'm sure I'll get around to picking this one up one day. I know Juan really enjoyed it in his review. Bruno Silva got in some very nice games, including the Dungeon Crawler Labyrinth of Refrain. Very much an NIS America style game, seems right up my alley. Jumble Skull got in these games, including the reversible cover of Contra, so colourful, plus Redeemer, which is one that you don't see often, at least in this series. Severus was one of the lucky ones to pick up the elusive visual novel Buried Stars, only sold in South Korea so far. I guess it helps that they live there. Sadly, PlayAsia still don't have a stock update, but hopefully it won't be too long. Stephen Domick got in the very appealing looking Blasphemous from Limited Run Games, looking very excellent indeed. Avery Brown picked up some colourful fun with a few recent releases including SpongeBob, which despite my hatred for him, the game looks kind of fun. Matt wanted to show off these games that they got in recently. Nice to see the Strawberry Cow that's not stapled to the box. Good that you set the poor thing free. Joseph Wharton Walker was late to the party with Smash and Zelda, but they said that they're loving every second of them now. Although they were less impressed with the port of Samurai Showdown, I don't know, I think it turned out decent. Juan was also lucky enough to get in Streets of Rage 4, the Signature Edition. This is an absolutely fabulous looking collector's edition of the phenomenal beat-em up. Signature Edition games, they usually put out quality, but I think they've outdone themselves with this one. You get the game, of course, a bandana, a signed poster, some quality pins, a double soundtrack CD, oh yeah baby, a keychain, and a mini manual. These are chunky boxes and are always recommended by Juan especially, as he's the one who's collecting all of them. I'm incredibly jealous of his collection. Brandon White got in some fabulous games, including my favorite Switch physical, the Final Fantasy Collection. I love it so much that I've considered buying a second copy. Griffin wanted to show off the fantastic special reserves edition of The Messenger. Always very impressed when I see this one. Neverbirth picked up an obscure physical game, Silence, an adventure game that I think James reviewed way back when. Honestly, I can't remember his thoughts on it, but it looks like a good one for the collection. I could be wrong, but I don't believe this got a US release. They also got in these fantastic editions. The Indivisible Kickstarter reward looks lovely. Visipon finally got in her copy of Super Rare Games' Steam World Collection. Jean went sale crazy as these FIFA games were going for only $1. $1! Yep, now that is a bargain that I can get by. They also showed off these pickups, including the Nintendo Lego. Nice. Our executive producer God of Resin sent in this photo of Cat Quest Awesome Pack, a nice little collection of RPG style games, plus a little bonus up there at the top. Not sure if they're pins or keychains, but they look nice. Also, he picked up these very nice games too. So much variety. Rebus knows the way to my heart with some gorgeous imports. Especially love Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon and Katana Kami. Just love the artwork for all of these. Zone 7 picked up these 4 great games, including yet another Agalos, still trying to find a copy here in China. Art Phoenix Assorted sent in these pictures showing off some great collector's editions, plus wonderful 101 Kickstarter from Platinum Games. Chuck's Taylor sent in this nice variety of games, the excellent Shmup Collection, plus the Escapist 2, which is supposedly a very good game indeed, and I should probably try it out someday. Pretty with Horns picked up this wonderful looking collector's edition of Root Letter Last Answer. That's some gorgeous artwork right there. I definitely need to get this one for collection at some point. Chris Hepburn showed off a couple of nice indies, but also showed off some controllers that he got in, including those big chunky boys, which I think my hands may be a little bit too small for. Marty Marr got in For the King, which may be a game that I actually missed from the series. I don't remember. I remember seeing it a lot with dates changing all the time, and I must have not realized the proper date when it appeared. Ragtag got in the Miami Hotline Collection from Special Reserve. I'm curious, what on earth does a chicken mask have to do with this game? Kind of disturbing, right? Peter Clark got in the Asian release of Streets of Rage 4 using its Japanese title Bare Knuckle. Love the artwork, plus nice retro interior. Punky Deucer did what he does best and gave us a peek inside his card case. It includes Power Rangers, which recently got announced as getting another physical release away from limited run. It's going to include more stuff on the cartridge, but still won't be complete, sadly. Hayosha sent in this photo, including the surprising early limited run versions of Brigandine. I swear they fast track stuff when there's competition for alternative releases, this time from Japanese and Asian releases of Brigandine. Renato Fares sent in this picture of some absolutely fantastic pickups. Loving the Blair Witch there. My collector's edition is supposedly arriving pretty soon, and I think it will be here by the time this video goes out for you, although too late to put in this video. Plus a cute little import, the Pixel Puzzle 3-in-1, a cheap, cheerful import that I recently added to my collection too. No Face showed that he does have some face, at least in the Chinese sense of the meaning, because they sent in 3 games, including the Japanese physical of Celeste, which is lovely to see. This is on my list of pickups at some point. Chris from Cali got in Fairy Tail, plus a game that I mentioned in last week's Community Spotlight, My Girlfriend is a Mermaid. It's the best game ever if you're going by the name alone. One to import. Valiant Spain showed off some goodness, including the super recent Lovecraft's Untold Stories and the Furwind Special Edition. I'm seeing a lot of support for the Spanish industry here, Valiant Spain. Craig Morgan was one to pick up his Cat Quest Pack 2, very nice. Mansfield there showed off the Labo, which is probably all that there ever will be if sales are anything to go by. I don't like the fact that there's no name on each box, just like 1, 2, 3, 4. What's that all about? Totally Simon sent in these bunch of awesome games, including some very nice imports. An obscure one there is the Kunio-kun World Classics Collection, a must-have for retro River City fans. Fluttershout showed off the absolutely lovely artwork for Ark of Alchemists. Looks so clean and crisp, although I'm still convinced that the title of the game is still missing a couple of this. The Ark of the Alchemists, I don't know. Gerald Gonzalez sent in 3 very different games, including a game that I'm very intrigued about just from the box art alone, Mutant Year Zero. I've seen it quite a lot, but I've never seen it in action. I've been told that it was probably worth it from the bargain bin. Matthew Hutton got in Brigandine this week, plus the incredible turnaround for Friends of Ringo Ishikawa. I thought that was an open pre-order. Jonathan got in a very nice haul this week, including the cover variation of Finding Teddy 2, the excellent collector's edition of Void Terrarium, and even Chemco RPG Collection. But the star of the show is the massive fishing rod that comes with the fishing game. Very nice. Alolan Joe was very nice to use our Play Asia link and coupon code to pick up Ninjala. Thank you ever so much. Sadly, this physical is kind of like Splatoon 2, where you can't really play online unless you download the update, which is sad, but kind of inevitable. Coach Chris showed off his arrival of the special edition of Ringo Ishikawa. How are they doing this as a pre-order? They printed them already? What happens if they didn't print enough? That would mean a sacrilegious second print? I don't know. Anyways, it looks pretty cool. Whatever. Robert picked up these from Play Asia. He even got in the incredibly cute new stickers that they're putting up in their orders. I need them. He also got in the collector's edition of Neo Geo Samurai Showdown Collector's Edition from Japan. Absolutely stunning. This is basically the same thing as Pix and Love Publishing that they're doing in Europe, but that's already sold out. This is more readily available, I think. Agu got in one of my favorite games of last year, Dusk Diver, a fun beat-em-up adventure brawler. Had lots of fun with that one. Nice keychain too. Mark Golson was proud to show off these pickups, including the gorgeously striking US Collector's Edition of Xenoblade. Just stunning. It also seems like Cat Quest is going to be a popular one. Daniel, or 741, did a very kind unboxing of the signature edition of Streets of Rage 4. It looks like a total beast. Incredibly jealous of this one. Retro Boy also got in Cat Quest Plus a bargain for Vostok Inc. at less than $10. That's crazy. Plus that elusive Space Blaze. Is that any good? Answers on a postcard, please. Streaming on the corner sent in this lovely photo. They are new to Switch collecting, but hope to show off more in the future. Here we have 4 top tier indie games, absolutely top notch. Can't go wrong with any of those. Tommy Mayer sent in this picture with the much sought after Ring Fit Adventure, plus some more obscure titles like 1971, Project High Rise, and Railway Empire. Very nice, love it. And finally, to end this week's show, we have Parma, who showed off one of my all-time favorites, this Samurai Showdown Shock Box Edition from Pix and Love, which nets you 2 games in one, plus a fabulous art book. Honestly, I love this, and I'm so glad I have it in my collection. Alright, thanks ladies and gents, it's always nice to see what you've got. Please send me your pictures over on Twitter at SoWhatAboutGame. You can DM me or you can tag me and use the hashtag Let'sGetPhysical and I'll give you a nice little retweet too. Or you can send it by email to contact us at switchwatch.co.uk. Just make sure you start the email title with Community Spotlight so I don't miss it. Plus, we have a Discord where you can join and have a little chat with us. Plus, you can send your pictures over there in the submission section. If you want to join it, the link is below in the description. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of New Physicals. A bit of a quiet one. Thanks to all of you for watching. If you watched all the way to this point, you are an absolute legend. Plus, our actual legends, our executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Jonathan Rumo, Gannicus, and all the others who have joined our memberships. We really appreciate you. You help support this series very much. Plus, all of you who used our Play Asia links. Thank you ever so much. You have no idea how much it helps support us. Please check out last week's episode in case you missed it. Plus, we have a lot of other videos that you may want to check out too. We'll see you guys over there. Take care. Goodbye.